How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future with my special guest, the dog. It's late at night, so he's trying to go to bed, and he's trying to convince me to go to bed. But look how cute he is! Like, who can avoid a snuggly dog? So, a special guest appearance from my dog and the top of his head. He'll probably lie down here in a moment, but adorable. Say hi. We're here doing our normal update. We'd appreciate any like, subscribe. The dog does make an occasional appearance now and then. We're doing our update on the guys we featured in our summer scouting. I don't have a whole lot. Rutgers was off. Houston was off. Tyson and Levitt are both out with injuries. So yeah, let's talk about Fernando Mendoza. I was a little amused because in the first half there are a lot of people on Twitter being like, "See, here's another struggle, and he's gonna have a win in a close game against a bad team." Well, how does 91.2 overall grade and a 90.7 overall grade passing, 22 of 24 with 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's right. He had more touchdowns than incompletions. So he's doing fine. He's doing all right. And no interceptions, just good, clean, solid game. Now again, he dominated weaker competition. I'm just kind of trying to do the math here. He has what? Let's see, 870. He has 78 incompletions for the whole year. My math is right. Let's see, that'd be a 7. Yep. And then that'd be 11, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, he has 78 incompletions and 30 touchdowns with a 9.4 yards per attempt. He's QB1, guys. He's QB1. 5% big time throw rate, 1.8 turnover worthy play rate, mobile enough, plus arm, a little bit stronger. He's done everything I could ask him to do. He's QB1, and I'm pretty sure me and Ryan are going to fight over him. I would love it if Moore or Simpson came out. And then there'd be a little less competition. I'm just worried because I did drop Shador and he didn't do great. So now I'm looking at Cleveland, and I don't think any quarterback is going to win there. That's just my opinion. You're welcome to disagree, but that's where I'm at. So definitely need a quarterback, and for me, Mendoza's the only round one option. There are a couple other people who intrigue me, who, if they fall in the right round for the right value, I might consider if I don't get Mendoza. We got one more year of what I call double picks. So I'll definitely get one next year based on our arrangement as a pair of friends doing this. But for me, it's pretty easy to see. And we'll see where it goes. His counterpart on defense, Mikal Kamara, he's not excelling. No pressures, no sacks. He's just kind of solid. 70 overall, 70.4, 69.1 run defense, 75.9 tackling, 60 pass rush grade, even a 60.7 coverage grade this week against Wisconsin. So nothing elite, but nothing terrible. Like it's kind of unfortunate because you're like, it's the definition of okay, but he's holding his own, and I think the opportunities are going to come in time. But he's got 1 sack to 40 pressures. So there's a funny thing between pressures and sacks, and I think that pressures are good. Obviously, you want to get home, so you want more than 1 sack for 40 pressures. But I did my numbers for edge rushers already as I record this, and the pressure to sack rate for an edge rusher, isn't crazy. Unless you only have like 10 pressures in one sack, then it's going to be insane. But, you know, on the low end, you got the 9%. On the high end, you got 25%. And even then, it's because you're getting fewer pressures. So, do you want a lot of pressures with about 9% sack rate? Obviously, you want you want 100,000 sacks, but that's just not going to happen. Um, but this is a little low. One sack to 40 pressures is a little bit low. So, you'd like to see that improve. Um, but okay, solid. Alex Harkey, give me. Let's see here. He allowed no pressures, no hurries, no sacks. Solid game. I'm not really sure. Like his run blocking grade was low, 52.1 for the run blocking. That's with 23 snaps at run blocking, so not great there. Overall 59.4, but his pass blocking was 75. So he'll have these kind of dud games as a run blocker, which is weird given his height and his weight. But what we got 12 pressures for 282 pass blocks. No sacks. So they're not getting home and keeping him from getting home. So solid, reliable. We're gonna have to see how the athletic testing goes because height and weight, those check all the boxes. The production is solid. And the draft for him is gonna be all about how he performs. But he did an okay job against Minnesota, and then we'll see because they got USC, and between you, me, and anyone eavesdropping, I well, the winner of this game gets into playoffs, and I I have as yet been unimpressed with Oregon. I'm not saying Sadiq is playing well more. If he comes out, I have to really think about him. Even though I'm not happy with less than 23 starts, you gotta think about it at least. So I'm not saying they're terrible, but when you're talking about one of the 12 best teams in the country, I don't I'm not sold they're one of them. But maybe they go in there and stomp USC, and then that would convince me. That would do the trick. But I'm not sure they beat USC, and I'm not sure they beat Washington. So they'll have these opportunities, and hopefully Alex Harkey will take that opportunity to shine. Harold Perkins Jr. So a relatively solid game for him. He got a sack against Arkansas. He had two pressures. He he had four missed tackles. So that's kind of a bugaboo. I really think he should come back. Now the receiving the coverage looks awful because he was targeted once and he allowed a catch, but that's misleading because of how that's presented. But he had an interception, so one of the better games, and actually kind of stacking those Alabama, Arkansas. It's not the elite thing, and the missed tackles are still a real problem. But yeah, he stacked. If not a great game, I still have heard he played very well against Alabama. He's got a couple good games in a row, so good on him. Hopefully he keeps building on this because he's going to have a chance to prove himself here in the next couple weeks. But for his sake, I really hope he goes back, dials, ramps up that production, and really addresses the coverage and the missed tackles. But we'll see. We'll see what he chooses to do. Zane Durant, um, you know, uh, two pressures, two missed tackles. He's credited as like 100% missed tackle rate. Now again, it's only two, but he misses he he misses one out of every three tackles he makes, or one out of every four tackles he makes, and that's not a recipe for success. It's just kind of underwhelming. Um, he's not not having the year that he's supposed to have. This was an okay day, but the missed tackles are really going to be a problem. He'll have more opportunities, but for me, I got Mendoza, I got Durant, and a couple other unfortunate underperformers, and then we got guys like Jake Slaughter. 61.4 overall, 69.8 run block, 62.7 pass block. So this is a relatively down week for him. And that's to say, his down weeks are solid. He's allowed one sack on 373 pass blocks. He's allowed three pressures in that time. He's just doing fantastic. He is the number one center in my board. He's the number two interior lineman on my board. He's just solid in doing his job, and I credit him for that. And we're talking about against an Ole Miss defense, so performed well against a good defense. Caden Green against Mississippi State. Reasonable. 78.4 pass blocking, 63 run blocking, 67.2 overall. He's only allowed two sacks on what? 285 pass blocks, seven pressures total. So you'd like fewer pressures, and two isn't a terrible sack number, but you got real top performers who haven't allowed a sack or pressure all year. But looking his height, his weight, if his athleticism dialed in, he might be a value at tackle, who you can definitely kick into guard, or maybe you bring him in to play guard, knowing you can kick him outside in an injury situation. Solid game against solid Mississippi State's underrated. Solid game against solid competition. And to give him credit, Caden Green has been another guy who's done everything I've asked him to do. So good job on him. And the only other guy I have who's played this week is Chandler Rivers. 66 overall. Let's see. I think he had another interception today. He did. Or not today, but he had another interception. He still only allowed one touchdown. You look at his receiving percentage, and it's a little misleading. Because it's 69, but he still hasn't allowed 100 yards, and this week was his worst week, where he allowed 87. The next highest week is 56 yards. So this was basically his toughest game ever, and he still had an interception, still didn't allow any touchdowns. So I'm a big believer in Chandler Rivers. He's someone who, I don't know where he falls out in my board overall, but I'd be happy to get him in the third round. And you're gonna get a competitive, reliable ball hawk, and you can't do much worse than that. So those are the players that I reviewed. By the time you've seen this, we've done our live. You know how kind of, one time we do a live and I'm like, I might be fired. The next time we do a live and I'm like, well, maybe I'm okay. And this time we're going to do another live and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. You got to let these things play out. It takes about 5 years to know your class. And Ryan and I are only 2 classes deep. So we'll kind of see where that goes. You can check my Twitter page for my top performers for the week. This is probably the last week I'll do that before the end of the season. And then we really start digging in on all the players and all their numbers. But we're kind of plugging along. So stay tuned. We hope as we record this, hopefully you guys had a chance to hang out with us in the live, and you can always do that every other Tuesday. We're doing something live. And the next one we'll do is just looking at college. We'll probably react to the rankings, and kind of take it from there. So stay tuned. Let us know in the comments if there's anyone you want us to take a look at, or any questions you're looking at. We also do interviews every now and again. We got some really good interviews on the channel already, and we got some good ones lined up. So Like, subscribe, keep up with us, tell your friends, and we'll see you around. We love you. God bless. See you around. Bye.